the air. Oh, let me hear you sing. We are free at last. We are free at last. We are free at last. Sing it loud. We are free at last. Remember the day, a day of jubilation. Freedom has come today. Salute the martyrs, salute the warriors. Freedom has come today. Rise up, your banner is waving, hey, freely in the air. Rise up, your flag is waving, hey, freely in the air. Oh, let me hear you sing. We are free at last. We are free at last. We are free at last. Sing it loud. We are free at last. We were marginalized, but never surrendered. We chose to be free. We are free at last. They tried to colonize us, to do away with our culture, and we said no, no. We are free at last. Across the bridge, in the promised land. Let's celebrate.
Again, we were having audio difficulties, and on that process, it got us into getting off of the live line on World Wide Web, and we are back now. I'm going to bring Dr. Fudge back so that we can finish our discussions of the tonight topic. Let me bring in Dr. Fudge. And again, apologies to all of you. These technical errors do happen, and unfortunately, it happens today. And it started with my own computer, and this is the base that we actually launch everything in. So that's why it affects us. But thanks to Dr. Fudge for being patient. That is exactly the discussion we are talking about. Values have been displaced already.
Yeah, it's a challenge. It's I remember when we first came to this country, a lot of this technology were not
Yes.
good at that time, and people, if they have to do an interview with people that I know, so they have to fly to Chicago or to or to Georgia or to Washington D.C. to have a talk show or such. So now you can sit at your own place, and I'm here,
Yes.
and the technology is here to connect us with our audience all over the world. So again, I think we'll have to understand this. It's always going to be data. So, all right, well, it's good. I think we'll have to begin.
That's right. Of course, we were talking about the moral values of a person, and you give us a great point to Dr. Farid, because the reason we spend our time on talking about all this, someone somewhere out there will make sense of this, and he or she will take it to his own self and use the message. It will not only end on what we said. You can go ahead and research more. You can apply it. You go to church. That is part of moral values. You have a community that you also give your time and donate whatever you have. Of course, time is money. People say that. If you don't know, it's very important. Time is money. So when you do things for your community, it as good as you are giving money as well. So these are part of the moral value of a person. But the biggest problem, Dr. Thatch, again, because this is where the leadership going to come in. You know, we talk about how whether a leader was born or raised, I mean, or made before. Now, the society we are in, Dr. Thatch, is not where we were born, especially for those of us, not our children.
Right.
And we discussed earlier that it is morals, values that your society expect of you. You know, you have to do what the society accept. But when it comes to your values, whether they are wrong or right, it is what you believe in. But now we were born in a country that's 10 million or 10,000 miles away from here. We, as a society, have different morals, values. But when we came here and start a new life, how do we juxtaposition the both of these two?
I think value is value. Value is value regardless of where you are. There's no society, call it America or even South Sudan, that will not have a value of respect, a value of service to people, a value of care, because those are duty, those are responsibility that everyone should have. If in fact we have come to this country and know that in this country we will have family, we will live in the community. And last time we talked, you and I talked about the importance of the community. What is the community? The community is not only the people in your ethnic group that might be living 200 miles away from where you are. It's people who are actually living next door to you. Those are your community people. How you treat them, how you relate to them, how you connect to them, how you respect them,
Hmm.
determine how you will live with them and also who you are. Because I think if you do value yourself, if you do value your family, you also have to make sure that you also have the same responsibility for the other people. And now, when we see things done differently by our children or by some of our community members, and we see wrong thing being done in front of us, and we are not telling them, whoever is doing something wrong, correcting them in front and telling them what they are doing is wrong. We are actually violating or maybe even not living up to our value. See, I talked earlier about the purpose. Your purpose of life is important because it has to connect to your values. You have to know why you are here, why you exist in the first place. What do you believe? Do you know exactly what your purpose is? You and I now were on this show, and maybe someone will say, why these guys are on this show on Wednesday at night? If we don't know exactly the essence of why we're doing this,
Hmm.
we'll be here for a number of hours, but we will not be able to generate the outcome that we wanted to see. But if we do believe what we are doing is to empower our community, and the value of empowerment is part of our belief value, then what we are doing is right. If we are thinking that what we are messages that we are sharing with the community will change someone's life for the better, and we believe in the communal empowerment, then what we're doing is right. If we believe we're talking about leadership, and
Hmm.
it's giving key component of strategic leader, what a leader can do to impact his community, his society, his organization, his country, and that leader take the use of this to mean something into what we are sharing, then strategically what we're doing makes sense. But if all of what we're doing is not what we're believing, then we are not lifting up to our values. So you believe to what you do as a part of your purpose of doing it will have extraordinary impact to what you have. You know, you have to remember Facts do not matter that much. Facts do not matter. What matter is your attitude, your right attitude about the fact. And I have to repeat it. Facts do not matter. And what I meant is this. Someone today might not have a job, might be laid off from work. Someone today might not have a family. Okay? His family may already separate. Someone today, while we are talking tonight, might have been, bankrupt so far, or might have lost some family member. These are facts. Now, what matter? These are facts. But why I say they don't matter is because it's not what happened that actually changed you. It's how do you focus to what happened. Because when if today we have a crisis in the world today, there's a war in Ukraine, there's war in Africa, in like now Gambela, and then of course in South Sudan and every part of the world. We are losing family members every single day. We are losing jobs. We have a number of jobless in Juba and Gambela and all over the world. People are losing the opportunity that they should have. Those are facts. But if you put these facts to a frame, if you put them in a picture, in a frame, like you put a photo in a frame, if you look at that, if you put a photo in the frame, it has two sides, either the back and the front. It's like anything else. There are always two things to anything that happens. If something good happens, there's also something bad. If something bad happens, there's also something good. What matters is how do you use what happened? Because now with you knowing that what happened is this, if you choose to focus on how can you generate positive out of the negative and focus on the positive, you actually will come out way strong. Statistically, people will focus on the positive aspect of the event. It generate a significant outcome. Of course, you might not bring back the person who died, but you know what you can do? You can create a legacy of that person that died, and you actually will even not know.
I want to ask a question on the idea that you said facts don't matter, but attitude does, right?
Right.
Now, in relation to what might have happened to individuals, or in you means that facts. I mean facts of being truth of what happened, or you mean of how, like I tell you, of how you solve a problem, because these are two different things. I can definitely have a problem of what we have now because the audio is not working, right?
Right.
And I can just sit here and hope that, oh yeah, you know what, let me not get angry, let me just look at the screen and hopefully that will be okay. Is that what you mean?
Well, what happened will not change. What happened will not change. What happened today, it didn't change. It really happened. It's fact. But if we focus on what happened today, we will not have this show back. Okay? It will be a problem, and the problem that we cannot solve, we can close the show and we'll be gone. But if we look into what happened today, then we have to think, and that's what you did. The thing of how you can actually come back and be heard and come up with something else. Maybe the same computer or use another device. So what I'm saying is, it's not that the facts did not really happen. It did happen. But if it is about negative things, no, there's always a positive outcome. And if you choose to focus on the positive out of the negative thing, you will even emerge stronger than what you might have also thought was part of you. If you have something positive that happened, and you focus on that positive thing, if you become procrastinated and be lazy thinking that you have achieved your goal, the next thing you will know is everything going to go downward. So while there are a good in anything, there are also bad in that thing. Now your job as a person is how do you prioritize what you believe? What I'm saying is, we're coming back to the value. What do you believe have to happen? You have to have faith, but also there's doubt. Doubt and faith are two things, but they're both belief. If you believe, if you believe that you have a faith to this thing, regardless of what happened, that I have a faith this thing will change. I
Mm-hmm.
have a faith this community will be better. I have a faith this thing is going to turn to something better. I have a faith I'm going to be able to make this thing happen. And you focus on it. You work for it. You're not just talking about it. You're working for it. I'm telling you, that negative thing, it will turn to be positive. The same thing. Even something good. If you doubt this is good, if you doubt you don't think this is good, now do you have a belief? Remember, the belief that you have, it is in your heart. It goes all the way to your other part of your body. It gives you, it sends signal to every part of your body.
But Dr. Thaj,
To the
we
result.
have we have people in, let's say, in our country,
Right,
those who are in camps
right,
in Juba, in Ethiopia, in Kenya, in Uganda, as well as in Khartoum, right?
right,
They are forced to live to live a life that some of them have never lived there before. Some of them have never experienced such a things before. It is not their fault, and they are forced to live in a situation in which they cannot have control of. They are
right.
forced to change their values. By the way, they are forced to change the way they live. Now, speaking of what you are telling us now, what can they do? Because they can't do anything else. It's not up to them. It is something that beyond their control.
Yes, it is something that is beyond your control. And what is happening to them is bad. An issue. But what I also say earlier, and I will repeat it again, is that while they are living in that situation, within that situation, if they don't focus only on how bad the situation is, how bad the living condition is, how bad their life is, how bad they've been kept there is, if they also focus on how can they change their life, how can they make things different within the camp, how can they can get out of the camp and rebuild their life somewhere else, how can they make things different in their own life. If they focus on the positive aspect of that, even within that camp, you will see a lot of change, not with everybody. And that's why we are also having people, regardless of where you are, there are also going to be two people in anything. Not everybody will come to the sense that within that situation, good thing can happen in that situation. It's not everybody will do that. But I'm telling you, if some of these people who are hearing me now, if they can sit and think, okay, in this camp, what can I do to myself? Can I create a job, or even for myself in the camp? You and I used to live in the camp. What did we do during our time in the camp as young children, as young people? I would tell them, I'm sorry, there's a one young boy that is one of my mentor and is a great guy. He actually just came last week, and I have not yet I connect with him now, but he came on his scholarship. He left camp in Ethiopia with extraordinary scholarships to one of the Western, I mean, one of the Middle Eastern countries to go to one of the American universities because of what he had done in the camp. He had done extraordinary work in the camp in the Gambela area. Now, through that university, he has been brought to America for a few weeks to come to speak to people and also to have a vacation. to join one of his pastor. I mean, one of his mentors to meet. I wish I had a chance to invite him, and he can actually. He's a very young, talented, and smart boy who's actually here in America. But what I'm saying is, he was in the camp. He was in the camp. He was one of the children in the camp. He would have chose to focus on not going to school. He would have chose not to do anything in the camp. And with that, because of how education in the camp is, he would have not got an opportunity to get a grade that allow him to attend one of the top American university in the Middle East. And now
Hmm.
has come to America. And I would tell you, this is extraordinary young man. But he has chose to focus on what is right, and even in the bad situation. So the same thing can happen to anyone in the other part of the prison camps.
So it is true that um, its speculations and worries cause
Right.
more damage than what you think things are. That is very true. I have another point. Speaking of values that a person do, it happened here in Nebraska where I am. It is this young lady who happened to take her children to school, and it was at winter time, very very cold. After she dropped her children, she's from South Sudan. She came back, and then on her way coming back, she saw two children walking on the side of the road, going to the same school. They're very, very, very cold, you know. And she stopped. These were two white kids, and she's an African from South Sudan. And she told them with her heavy accent that, "Hey, come in the car. It's too cold for you." Guess what? In this country, a stranger cannot tell you to come to the car, right? So the person behind the person that was telling kid to come to the car took the license plate and called police. So the children refused to get to the car. She said, "Okay, that's fine." She drove home, and a few minutes after she was in the house, police knocks her door. Really, you know how police knocks door in this country. It's just like huge problems. So police knocks the door and came, opened the door, here police, and the person that called gave a prescription. I mean, a description of the person that tried it. Now they turn into kidnapping children. You know. So when the police knocks the door or doors open and ask, "Hey, are you the person that we're looking for? What's your name?" Say her name and tell the police told her what happened. She was so scared and she was completely telling the truth. The kid was so cold, and I was trying to help them. So from there, you see how things are different in our country, and that's what the words come from. That African proverb that it takes a village to raise a child. So she tried to turn it to African things, and now she got in trouble. Now, how do our values will be respected here in a country in which it's not ours? You say earlier that values are values.
Yeah, value as values. But before I even respond to that, I respectfully thank the lady who have done this, because that is the right thing to do. You, regardless of a culture, regardless of the religion, regardless of the of gender or ethnicities or race, I think it's the right thing to serve the humanity. And what she did was to address to that expectation. Our
Hmm.
job is to live up to our expectation that our value is to serve. Our value is to help. Our value is to care. And when she saw children, like her children, regardless of their color or where they happen to be, she wanted to help. And I believe when police got there, they felt sorry. They felt sorry. They might have not taken her to jail, and they would have just advised
No,
her.
the police completely understood the whole thing. Like
Yeah,
really, really,
they would.
they got it.
They would. So yes, the value is value. Now, how do you? translate the cultural value norm of your country that might not be applicable to the nation where you find yourself in. I think this is where I think some of the things could become tricky. Uh, how we, you know, uh, how we care for our children, how we care for our elderly people, how we care for our community people, how we do things. Sometimes may be a little bit different, but the common sense is there's an overall objective of service, of serving people. The notions that if you come to the other country and you're becoming an individual, like this nation is an individualistic nation where it is all about me first, okay, and then anyone else afterward. And this now becoming a huge challenge for some of the children who if for any reason that a child is not taught so well, it would be difficult for them to transition from this behavior of me, and others later. So yes, we should understand that we have a different culture. We have a different culture, and we live in a different society. But that society too that we are in respect people regardless of background, value people regardless of the background, serve people regardless of background, and do right things to people and to the society. Those are common things. How do we do them? It could differ a little bit. I think what people needed to know is what is allowed and what is not allowed. Okay, and if you know what is not allowed, then you don't do it, even though you know it's the right thing. But again, I would never advise people not to do what is right. I would never advise people who see the way to value, to care, and to serve people that you can do it because the law in this country doesn't allow it like such. No, I don't think so. I don't think any law, even in the dictatorial law or any other law, I don't think there's any law that says you cannot do what is right. And what is right is exactly what shapes you, what show who you are as a person. So I might have that mindset as myself, but I think majority of people, even the transactionally people, even the other aspect of people who might think otherwise, they have one thing in common. They need good things. They need to be cared of. They need to be respected. They need to be valued. They need to live in peace. They need they need to be they need to be valued. So in that sense, if you do need this, you also have to provide them.
Hmm.
Otherwise, how do you fit in this society that this thing are not valued? Now, imp- how do you connect this with with our, with our economic value? Because this country, a very capitalistic nation with a mindset of social economic aspect, that you have to have if you have a social value, do you have economic value? And can there be a connect between the two?
Hmm.
Entrepreneurs, what they call social entrepreneur people, define that aspect as such that economic benefit, which is the profit aspect of it doesn't make sense if you do it in the expense of the humanity. That's why they believe that you can make profit, but if that profit is the profit that is made after and by hurting other, even if you have that profit, it will not worth much. That's why you see some millionaire and billionaire are returning back to the society to reinvest their profit because it doesn't really make sense to them that the profit much on what they are getting from poor. Now poor are continued to be poor. even though that sometimes they choose things differently. But I will tell you, moving forward, many of them strategically, they see that you can never have a society that you can profit economically when the society is
Now, we're coming
well,
to the end of our show. I want you to answer the last question, and that's the one that is on our screen. We have not actually dissected that very well. It's the question that does the society destroys or shape those with no moral values? In a sense that um, if you don't have your own values, what that identifies you, are you being shaped now by society?
yes or no. Um, it is so hard to live with no value. To be honest,
Mhm.
it is so hard to live with no value. Because what is value? Value defines you as a person, defines you in the society. It is what you are known of. Now, if you the thing is, if your values are negative values, because again, there's nothing called no value, but if you destroy the norm of the normal value, the 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 value that define the beauty of the society, if you disrespect it, if you do not live up to the expectations of people who see you as the meaningful human of who you are, then they give you what they think fits you. And then you are defined by what people see. Because again, perception is more than the reality. If you are defined as such, then it becoming uh, a, 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 a true that it shapes you because it is now becoming the perception that you have made because you have destroyed your real value of who you're supposed to be. Now, let's take the example of people who may destroy their characters and the value. People who do not respect people who do not care with people about people who do not value other people who cannot help other people who do not trust other people or cannot be trusted. They do not have integrity. People of whom if you come, then they not only that people will talk negativity of them, but they will disrespect the society because of their action of what they have. Now people will name them something, and that name it actually shapes who they become, and it's now becoming a new creator value that are presenting them. Whether they like it or not, it is what now appear to represent them. In fact, people can change. If you want it, if you do not want that perspective to be what you determine you, then you can choose as an individual to becoming who you want to be by readdressing your value and respecting the people and also doing the services that people need. And in fact, you can actually regain the trust and the respects of the society and becoming who you want it to be. So again, the community has to support one another. The community has to live together. The community, like for example, take Sudanese here in America. If something significant happen and people are asking everybody $1 and you cannot give $1 today, okay, you have an accident, you don't have money today, you left your wallet somewhere, you don't have a dollar. If tomorrow another contribution comes, you don't have another dollar. Then before next Wednesday, next days, when they ask you for another dollar, if whether you show the dollar or not, people now will start to say, "Oh no, you go to act, he's not going to give you dollar. He doesn't give dollar because they saw you twice that you don't give dollar. They saw you twice that you don't give dollar. Whether it was that you left the wallet somewhere or you just didn't have a dollar, they will assume that this is who you are. You're not giving anything to people. So you don't care about missions that other people believe in. And that really now defines you. What if you say you go to any society and everything everybody does, you are against it. You always, anytime you get into anything, you cause problems. Okay? And people will disappear or just run away because you are coming and becoming a problem maker than the peacemaker. So a group will not organize themselves, will not even want to be in that setting when you are actually becoming a problem generator person than a peace generator person. So anytime you're there, people will run away. Now you're becoming what? Every time they see, oh, this is the guy who always cause problems, and people will run away from you. So what you do, if you don't reverse, it becomes who you are. And you don't know yourself. No one knows themselves much than the people who are around you. If you are smart, you learn from friends. And maybe even you can have a person that you can ask, how do I do in our community? How do I do here in our home? Hey, Ambassador, have you even had your children? How do they think you are as a father? If you don't, if
Oh,
you
they
don't
they 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 would throw me away.
okay. And then there are, and if they say that, then there are things that you may also work on.
My
Because
my
you
my
may
son,
continue to
you
go.
know, speaking of that, my son one day told his teacher that um actually told me that I am he said that in our house we live in North Korea because dad is like North Korean president who would choose his people to, to have a haircut just because I tell them that you go to sleep at certain time, do
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
and that actually makes sense because he understands what he is expected of, but he just think that is too harsh. You know,
yeah.
that's it's good to bring that up. But Dr. Thaj, we are running out of time. I think I steal
No,
your
brother
question.
Zal is here. I don't know whether
Yes,
you
Yeah,
came.
yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Yeah,
yes.
Are
yeah,
you? Yeah, you're here and you've been in
yeah.
and out. You've been in and out. We don't want to close it without
Oh,
giving
okay.
you
Yeah, yeah.
a piece
I
of
think
work to
you
say
you
something.
talk a lot of stuff, and I like the way that you started with the issue of Gambela because that is the topic that people are really the issue, big issue now, and I can see a lot of people are turning
Now
to
it's
the
a crisis now. It's brought it's more than an issue now. It's a crisis now.
yeah, and it has been a big actually crisis, but we wanted to uh, maybe advise our people down there because, as Dr. Said said, there is a lot of refugees who are living there. That is true. About 3 camps when I left there, and this is huge of people from the crisis of South Sudan, and now they
Well,
took.
let's finish this one, then we come to that. Do you have any point on the topic we have?
Well, with your topic, you know, your topic, this one is seem to be very simple and very direct. You know, you're talking about values, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, values, what I would say, you know, values, actually, they depend on their personality. And personality, you know, come from family. Family come from society, community. That's why we have nations. So what is happening with values? Sometimes values can have conflict with behavior. And that's why you see crisis. This is something that connected with what we call maybe leadership trends. We discussed that last week or the week after. So what I would say is that you know, if you have values, then you need those values to match. They should be matching with your behavior. So let's say you wanted to value family, then there is no point for you to value family when you don't have a family. Let's say,
Oh, come on, come on. Are
yeah,
you
you
telling
know,
us
that's
that?
well, that's not my view. You know, is
No,
that
let me hear
I
you very well.
value something I
Let me put this on the
value.
record. Let me put
Yeah,
this on the
something I
record.
value, I have to match it up.
No,
That is what it
you said
takes.
that if you don't have a family, you don't have to have values.
Well, I'm saying, you know, values. I don't know what you understand. You know, value. Everybody have a specific value. The value I have, you might not have them.
That's true.
Yeah, and then
But
the one. So that's what I'm saying for myself. I value family. That's my value is to have family. So if I have that value, and it happened I don't have a family, I need to match it. Let's say I value maybe to be a professor or a doctor like him, and I don't have it now. So how do I match it? It's just about matching. You have to match the value and your behavior, your standard. That is what our people, they are lacking. And that's what we should be. We should be matching this thing up. And actually, I will just say this is
You
only
mean
important.
acquiring what you don't have?
Yeah, actually, it's important only for kid, by the way. If you read the biography of, I think is Frederick Douglass, one of the African American struggling during slavery. Try to read his biography about what value actually mean, and he told people it's really very hard to build a broken man than actually just to try to build a strong kid. So what he meant by that is that, right now, you and I and doctor will be very hard for somebody to try to be fixing our values. You can't do that because already if we are broken at this age, it will be hard, it will be too hard. So what we can only do now to talking about values, you should be thinking about our children. That is how values is actually built, because it's not something that you just brought it up from maybe
Can I
it has a
interject
stage
that,
where you can
Brother Mignon?
begin
Yeah, go ahead.
building it.
Let interact so that
Yeah,
it makes
let
sense to the
I
viewers.
I understand your point of view, Brother Dahl, saying that the value is connected to your behavior.
Yes.
Yes, it is true. It is connected to your behavior, but it is a belief that you have, and your behavior is what you actually do to that belief. So when you say, when you are a whole person, you are a whole person, and if you now you are a disrespect person, or you are a person who doesn't believe on things that we think there are common values. By the way, the respect is needed by anybody. Okay,
No. That's wrong.
you don't want to be respect.
That's wrong, doctor.
You don't want to be respect.
That's
No,
well,
you don't want to
it
be
depends.
respect.
For instance, for example,
Uh-huh.
I was brought up. You and I was brought
No,
up in South Sudan.
what part is wrong? Then you can answer. What is
Yeah,
wrong?
just
Yeah,
I
the
wanted to
wrong
know.
thing is this. Okay, it depends on the culture you are brought up on. Let's say you and I and the three of us actually, we come from Apanal. Okay,
Hmm.
so most
Great
our
up and down.
family, they brought us that respect mean that you have to respect a older person. Okay, yani ramadi yani balwas. That is how the mentality that we grow up.
But what does it different from what
No,
Dr. Thai say now? I
no,
want to.
Well, it's different from society to society.
no.
Respect might mean something, and if when
Oh,
I went and
you say that it's different from
hold
society.
on, hold on.
It's not different, right?
When I went and revised our values, family values, my own values, and my family by society values, they have conflict on me. So I have to make a decision on myself to go by myself, not by my
No,
family.
you are losing me. Let's be clear here. Are you opposing that Dr. Thai say that it depends on culture where you come from, or you agree what he said? I want to know.
Respect, I'm saying respect is not a common. Dr. Saidi say there are common. He's trying to make it a common, and respect is not a common. That's what I'm telling Dr. Saidi. Respect is not a common that you can believe it. A common
No,
thing is something we believe
maybe,
it all over the world. It's a standard. Sometimes they call them international standard. But this
So
is
you're saying that it's not just a common thing; it is standard of human being.
no. It's depend on the culture. It might be the way people respect in America is different from Africa. Maybe it even depend in many
Yeah,
of
but
the.
in the end,
But it's not a common where something can be. Well, if he
no.
can just maybe
This
tell
is
me,
but this is
hold
what
on.
this is
I
what
think
is interesting here.
we might come
Let's
to
dialogue
agreement.
here.
Look here,
Yeah.
respect in our culture mean that we have to respect a older person. That means younger person, you can, like, younger person in newer society, You cannot respect a young person like your children. Children have to
Yes, you
respect
can.
you.
Yes, you can respect
I
a
need
young
to
person.
respect your
Well,
children.
this is not the way we are brought up in our culture.
No, we were brought
No,
up
no,
like
no, no,
this.
no, 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 no.
No,
I
no,
was
no, no.
brought up
It's
like
not.
that.
So that's
Are
why
you
we say,
are you telling me that in Bentiu you don't respect
I
the
was,
younger one?
well, what we know is that when people are whole, these are the people are entitled to say something. They are entitled to have anything that they right of anything. So they have title to be respected. But the younger person, they were ignored. This is the culture because we are taught like that. I'm brought up like that. Anybody in South Sudan is brought up like that. And now, because you learn some other thing, you trying to, if you don't want it, and then that is what we call a conflict of cultures, conflict of values. So
So
that's why
if
that's
if if a 10 years old kid went fishing and get a big fish at a time that fish are not there, brought it to his grandfather, what would the grandfather say to him?
well, you can say thank you, right? Thank you.
Yeah, but what is that thank you saying now? Thank you is the respect of what the child did.
Well, well, I think then we have to define the respect. I think we need to
All right, all
definition.
right. Well,
Dr. Thak, what do you
okay.
think is the international definition of respect? We
uh,
have to, when we talk of
anybody,
something and
no,
you
All
don't
listen,
right.
know it,
listen.
Okay, we got
Let me
to
just say
move.
like
We
this.
got to move on. We got to
We
move on
have
to
to
the
move
point.
on, but respect is common. It's common, regardless of gender, regardless of age, regardless of ethnicity or background. Now, there could be some different category. Maybe somebody in your age mate can say things to you that you might think are disrespectful. That is okay. That is normal. Okay. You if the person say, "Why do you say things like this to me?" Then the person who doesn't really intend it to harm you will return and say, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cause this thing to you." That would be that. But that might be something you might not say to the older person or even to the younger person, for that matter. But again, it is cross board. Women, men, and you have to respect people. This is not a Western culture. It is everywhere where we are, and we all Sudanese live alone. No, even in every Sudanese culture, you cannot go and let's say the fish is another thing. Go and get a stick from somebody's end and just take it away from the child and throw it and just break it and throw it like that. You did something wrong to the child, and if the child cry, you just beat the child. You will be seen not only by the child, by anybody else, that you disrespect the child, you disrespect yourself as well.
but is that one applicable in our culture?
Well, you will be seen as someone who disrespect who.
But
If you disrespect yourself, as
That's why we are saying they are saying, in our culture, respect
yeah,
only apply to big people. The younger children, they don't have that, and that's why we are saying it depends with values, with the way how different values or personal values, cultural values, and family values. You can maybe have a value of maybe freedom. You have a freedom of your time, freedom from kind of dependency. This is a value, but this kind of values, sometimes it excludes others. You can. It's not everybody that will get into that kind of thing. You can maybe have I heard you talking about helping others. These are unique. They don't. You don't share them. They are not common. So there is some of the. I don't think there will be anything you call common here, because even you have the friendness. There are people who are not friend in the world. They are not friendly. They lie just by themselves. You have marriage is different totally from different culture to different culture. You have maybe independency and those who have social values. So like in America, they value independence. Being independent in America is the core value of every citizen, okay, which we don't have. So in our culture, is being social is very strong value. So you see how conflict can be. So
so you, Dol, let me answer some of our viewers that are saying that, especially Mr. Bolrick, Mr. Borik was answering what I said about the child giving fish to grandfather, and he said that that is not a respect, but is an appreciation. But let me explain a little further here. You know, you respect something for what they have done, for who they are, right? We understand that kids, you don't just say that I respect you, but you respect the child or the younger one even more. You show it when they have done something better. That's when people realize that even the young, the older people respect. That's one. Second, how do our young one, ourselves, you and I, how do you learn this value back home? You learn them because the older one, our older people, they show us the respect to as well. You know, they show the respect to us. And when you do something wrong, right? They bring you, even though they can cane you as much as they can sit you down and explain that to you. When you set a child down, home, I'm sure it happened in Bento as well. When you set a child down and tell him or her what he or she done wrong, you are being respectful to that child, I think, and I believe so. So
I think, Mayong, I think, Ambassador, I think there's a problem of you understanding this concept of respect, I think. So, when we talk of respect, and I think the person who is trying to correct you there, I think is right, because appreciation is different from respect. Respect, let me define a respect to you, okay? When we talk of respect, actually, we are talking of a treatment that you can treat me, and actually the way I see that you will treat me is the same way that I can treat you. This is respect. Let's say maybe I don't want maybe to or maybe I want you maybe to have a distance with me, maybe in kind of talking, or you don't have to cut me when we are talking. Is the same thing that will apply to me, that when you talking, I don't want to cut you. This is a respect, mutual respect from me, and that's what we are saying, respect from you to the kid also. This one we don't apply it to the kid. Like me, for example, my kid, if I'm talking, I can talk. I don't see my talking children will tell me not to talk when they are talking. You see, this is why we are saying
so
that
when your child
you
has a
not
point to tell
understanding,
you,
because you not
listen,
understanding
we're
this
getting
thing.
there.
Hold
When
on,
your
hold on,
child, if you
hold
talk
on.
to your child and he has a point to tell you,
That's what we
you
are
will talk
saying.
over his point.
That is what we are saying, that now this thing, respect, in our generation, you and I, we are brought up that is not available for children, but we expect it from only children. But when we come to Western world, now we learn that respect can actually apply to everybody, and we're trying to apply this, become a conflict in our families. And that's what we wanted to understand those concepts, because is a value that required everybody to engage in. And but now, because of the way we are brought up, we already grown up, we are in 14, 50, we cannot fix it. That's why I was telling you, for somebody who is older, you already been actually you have your own value in your brain. Is very hard for us to be corrected when it comes to values. But for children, yes. For children, the children can start learning because they are young. So they can learn that, okay, respect not only for a bigger person, it applies to younger. So their kid will be treated the same. But for us now, it's going to be very hard. Why? Because our cultural background did not taught us this way. We are taught like a religion. We are taught like children, they deserve to be disciplined, okay, so that you become a better person. So that is how cultural can have a conflict with your values and with your family values and society and nation. So they are all different things. Anyway, what we need to do now is that what we wanted to maybe what I want to share with our people is that when it comes to values, okay, you need to be independent about value, not even with your family. And that's what I teach my children too. Okay, you have to be value for you. Don't defend. Don't say, okay, this value that my family dictated on me, they are good. Define your own values where they fit, and then when you define the value, try to match match them with your behavior, then you will be fine.
Let me read you this. Let me read something to you, and then I'll give it to Dr. Taj. And it says here, people values define what they want personally, but morals defined what the society around those people want for them. Certain behavior are considered to be desirable by a given society, while others are considered to be undesirable. Now, this is talking about different people from different society, right? It says here, for the most part, however, morals are not written in stone or on a wall. Okay? These are not written on a wall or anything, or proclaimed by God above, but instant reflects local sensitivities. Right? So now, if you say that we don't respect our kids, we don't value them, right? How do we learn ourselves? Because I agree with you that your own values are yours. We all agree on that, right? But the question here is that, and that's what I'm dwelling on now. If we don't, if we don't show respect to our younger one, or let's say kid, not even kids, in back home, uh, myself, if I don't have mark that Dr. Thaj has, right? And there's a chair, there's only one chair. It doesn't matter how tall I am, right? It's Dr. Thaj that is going to sit there, right? Now, I can be even older than Dr. Thaj, and I'm not having this mark. I'm talking about based on where we come from, right? So these things are uh, uh, these are the respect of what define us. This is what we decided. But these are society. Society say that if someone has marks, right? It doesn't matter whether you are older or not. You respect that kid that has mark itself. That's what society, our society, tell us. But home, right? They will tell you that even kid that are your older brother and the younger sister and all this time, you can say something bad to your younger one, but will not repeat to you. You
That
know
is
that, right?
what I was talking about now.
But
Now
that's
you get
completely
it now.
different.
You understand
That,
it now.
that's completely different. That's a different things.
Well, that
Okay.
is what we call imposed values. You know, our culture is
We
imposing
we
value
we
on us.
Right.
Father
You
Young,
see,
Yes.
I
including
think we
respect.
need to move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now you got it. You know, so that's what we call. That's why we are. For me, I'm saying here that our children, we should not impose our values on them, because our values, we study them, they are not right. For example, respect is not right in the Nuer society. It's not the way it's supposed to be imposed. Respect is only for bigger people, and here respect is for included everybody. So here we wanted people to be open,
No.
to be
That's only
independent.
where you come from, and not only the whole Bantu. It's got to be
Yeah.
your
So
your
that's
clan.
what I'm saying. So we should actually
I think we'll
avoid.
leave this to Mr. Dahl. What I noted in debating with my brother Dahl, and I'm not,
Dal, you have a question here. Michael
I'm not,
Garwitjak said.
I'm not.
Michael Garwitjak is asking Dal, would you insult a 10 years old just because you want to? Would you do that?
Well, in let's say in a Nuer village, you can
Yeah.
insult 10-year-old.
Yeah.
They
Just
will,
because you want.
it will not mean anything, and they cannot insult you back, right? But
No.
here,
The question here.
hold on. You can do that in simply in our cultural brought up or way of. You can do that to a 10-year-old. They cannot do it to you back. That's what I
No.
know.
No.
Because
Dal,
if they do that,
only that
they will
that,
hold on.
that
For us, they will consider that child is bad, but they will consider you as a good. If they do it to you back, they will consider the child is bad. You see, because of the way we are brought up. So that's why we are saying here, because we are brought up, is a long story that we are brought up. It cannot be repaired right now. It's very hard for us, but for the young
don't they
generation,
ask? I disagree with you. I don't know about Dr. Thaj. I have this pen here, and this is for my iPad, right? If a 10 years old break my pen intentionally, right? I can disrespect myself and end up insulting him, right? But that child will not insult me back. Not only that, because he break my pen, but also he respect me. But for me to just come completely, that child has done nothing, just because he's young and I feel like I want to insult somebody, and then I can just check up like that. That is not true. One second, um, I think we got exhausted, but it's getting.
We should move on.
We should move on. Anyway,
Yeah,
uh,
we should move on. I think.
let, let,
Okay.
let,
Now
let's
we can give it a break for this because I know,
okay. But our time is coming to an end. I don't know if brother Simon Toot will be coming. I sent him the thing because we have.
Oh, brother Simon, yeah, let him come here.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But I think it's coming on Friday because the Inside Espelum tonight will be on Friday. But now we are being good guys here because Dr. Taj wants us to be good guys, so no problem. We're not gonna be we're not gonna be hard on politics. We're just gonna be so. But we want you, brother, at that show. But Dr. Taj, before I give it to you, Brother Dal, you came and to go and come in and go in and out, but I want you to sum it up, give us your recap in 30 seconds.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's not very because it look like there are two topics. First of all, the issue in Gambela. I wanted to comment on that. And what I wanted to comment is that what I have seen on the street, there is actually, it looked like there is a lack of understanding of the combats and non-combats in the war of Gambela. And that is why, we need to advise our people when there's a war between the rebel and group, what should the civilian do so that they can be safe? Okay. And the other thing is that war look like it's not going to end now because some people say, oh, if the rebel defeated,
I just got a phone call live now. That
yeah, they already restarted, right?
It's still on. It never end.
It never end, yeah. But what I'm saying, I'm not saying that
there's sporadic fighting within
yes,
the town.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what we are saying here for our people who are there, the civilian, usually when the war is start during the war, you should not be running around. Okay, just stay where you are. And if the war is stopped, because most of the war in Africa only take 1 hour, that's the longer they can take, and then the winner side will be left. Then later on, the civilian and the soldiers or rebel, they will be identified. So there are usually places like hospital in the conventional war, they don't go there. Places like school, places like maybe churches, and mostly villages where there are sheep. These are the people should be leading the people so that they know really this is a civilian life. But when you run to war, like the way I see, actually the rebel, this war is very funny. I never even see a war like that. The rebel are the one, they are well armed, they have uniform, and they look like really they are the government. And then the people who claim to be the government, they don't have even boot, they don't have.
Come on,
This is really.
Where do you get your information from?
They are all shared on the social media.
On this topic,
they are all shared. So you see, this is what we are saying now. We need to advise our people because sometimes our people can be used, and in South Sudan and even in the war in Ethiopia, everywhere we are used. This is not is lack of being informed. So if there is government fighting rebel, it should be government and rebel. If the civilian should not interfere, and government should never use you to go and fight rebel, or rebel should never use you to go and fight government. This is my position. This is what I'm saying. So let it be rebel and the government, because this is a change.
That's great advice you gave them, because you are a military person. You were giving a very good advice of telling civilians to stay away, go to churches where there's church, go to authority. I mean, to someone neutral. That makes sense. But when you dive into saying that this and that, leave that to the people that know better. Dr. Thatch, go ahead.
Yes, we're coming to an end. I wanted to thank you and Brother Young for keeping this show on. I know it took longer then we had some technical issues. So that probably hopefully will fix it next time. Brother Dal, thank you for coming. Your perspective or your perspective, but I will respectfully disagree with your definition of respects. But it's all up to you. It's how you see it. But what I also wanted to communicate earlier and wanted to say again is that we, in order to have a value, you have to define your purpose as an individual. If you define your purpose as an individual, because your purpose drives your values. If your purpose is to serve, you have to serve. That means you serve all human beings. If your purpose is to create other things in life, you will also have a value as such. But one's objective that we all have is that there are things that we do as a human being together, especially us here in the West. There are things that we have to do for the betterment of our society, betterment of our community, betterment of our family. What we can do is to instill good value to our children, to our family, and to our community. A value of respect, like I said earlier, treat everybody with respect. Value of care. Try to do everything that is possible to care for every person that is in need. A value of service, because we have to serve. We have to serve people regardless. We have to serve our community. We have to serve our faith. Okay, a value of hope. Maybe also, you know, if you have a belief, and I believe everyone has a belief, within that belief, you generate hope, and your hope or your belief will always bring you the faith of what you wanted to anticipate. Even if you have two things that happen to you, like I said earlier, facts does not matter. The reason is, even though we are at where we are today, as we are talking about the war in Gambela, if you will talk about the suffering you have, you will not find a way out of the suffering. But talk about how you can overcome this war and have peace. If you live here in the West, you don't have a job, talk about how you can overcome the joblessness to find job. Focus on that. If you don't have a family, focus on how you can actually develop the family. What is it that you need to do to be able to do that, whether you're a man or a woman? Because as long as you're still living, there are always chances for you to move away from the situation that you have today. Because situations change. Situations change. It changed. If weather change, situation also change. You might be down today, but it doesn't really mean you will not be up tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You will also be up tomorrow. It's always about your focus. If you focus on your suffering, you will continue to suffer. But if you focus on way you can get out of the suffering, then you will have to be able to do that. It is strategic for you to do that. It is also statistically true. Those who always focus on positive thing out of the problem, they always emerge positive. They always emerge victorious to whatever happened. So we might have a world that is today seem to be falling apart. We might have a world like, say, for example, our brother and sister in Gambela, for example, now, who just left South Sudan to Ethiopia, and now they happen to see this again in Ethiopia. They might lose hope, but no, do not lose hope. There is always a tomorrow. This thing is going to happen. Like if something good happened to you, something bad is going to happen to you. Would you always?
Yeah.
So that I think this is the
I'll give it back to you. You know, I didn't comment on these values as in summary. And what I wanted to,
Can I finish and then
Well,
you?
let him finish. Let him
oh,
finish.
okay.
Yeah. So what I just wanted to just say is this: I the this is not only a topic that can be discussed in one aspect. We can break it down to piece. We talk about social value today, but there are a number of social values, and which are good for what areas, and how can we develop those social values? There are also economic values in the society that are also tied with social values. And we touched base on some of this earlier. But all in all, what I'm just trying to say, because we are running out of time, is that when we'll come back sometime, maybe if not next week, maybe the following week, we will talk strategically about what you can do to overcome the killing aspect of your value, the procrastination. How do we overcome the procrastination, which is actually the killing aspect of our developing of social value? What is it that we need to do to overcome that? Can you develop that? I have tips to share with you. Maybe not this week, coming weeks, but the
Okay.
following week. What exactly you can do to overcome those things that prevented your family to do things that can actually develop value for you to arrive to where you want to be in life with your family. With that, Mother Myong, I will end here. And maybe you could go ahead and continue us with Brother Dal, or you guys can end it. I will have to leave.
Well, thank you so very much for coming, and we always appreciate your time and great comments and ideas you give us, Dr. Taj. Um, Next week, we will continue on these discussions and we will spice it up a little bit with some more topics that are rising. But we will have a section of informing our people of what happened throughout the week. This is in the making now, but sooner or later will come. So, Dr. Taj, thank you very much
Thank you,
for
Brother Dal. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Saj.
Brother Dal.
I
Our time also is
Yeah,
has come to an end.
it looked
But
like,
you said that you have a.
yeah, yeah. I just wanted to comment on the topic, your main topic of values. You know, what I do believe as a personal opinion is that values, uh, they are only connected with our behavior. So what you need to do is you need to need to identify your activity and then identify the value and try to match them. Whatever match for you, then go ahead and maybe strengthen on that. But it's very hard, and I will say this: it's very hard to be talking this to people who are grown up. You and I, we cannot. We already have values, and our values are really, you cannot change them now. It's very hard. So the only people we can be concerned are small children when we talk of values. And for our children, there are 7 values usually that are good at when you are a younger age. And I will read them. One of them is confident. If you want your child actually to be a good child, then you need to teach them what confidence is, how they can apply that into their life. And the other thing is empathy. Empathy, most people uh, will not maybe not understand that is the way how you feel about things actually. And this is good that if you can teach it to children when
You
they are,
mean the way you feel about the other people, or the way you feel about things?
yeah, empathy is how you feel for, you have a feeling for somebody who is
That's
down,
apathy.
who is down, and then uh, how do you get that feeling? Usually, it's not everyone that has that feeling, and you have to be brought up from your, let's say, your upcoming when you are young. This is one of the things that can make a kid to be strong. Not as I'm saying, I'm talking about children now, so we should not be talking about like the society is trying to generalize. This value, they are only good when you are young. Is when you can, if you begin teaching children, then they will be good. The other thing is what they call kindness. Kindness is, and he mentioned care, which is okay. So those things, they are good. One of the important when you bring, when we grow up in different culture like America, one value will be tolerant. Tolerant is very important to teach children, because now people are thinking about, you are black, you are white. We have people. Some people are say they are green. How do you integrate all this? How do you make a child understand that? So you make a child understand that through what a value called tolerance. So these 7 value, if you can, if from home, if we can be able to teach kid from home, then those kids, they will be very strong, and they can decide by themselves, because of they already have values. So that's what I will say. Usually value, you can match it with your own behavior, what they match, and some of your dream. If a child want to dream right now, I'm not dreaming of anything. Already my dream, I'm trying to achieve them. Some of them I already achieved them. So it's only the child that will be dreaming. Maybe you want to become a doctor, or you want to become maybe in future, maybe you want to become a professor in university, or a nurse, something like that. And how do you go about achieving that? So you need to certain value. You need, how do you match?
Well, before
Can,
you finish, I want to correct something, and
okay,
you're actually right.
yeah, yeah, you,
The empathy is exactly what you said. Understand another person's experience by imagining oneself in that other person. That's true. The apathy is the opposite way of not understand the person. Yeah, go ahead and
oh,
finish.
oh, okay, yeah, yeah, very, yeah, 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 and this thing, these values, they are really very important for children. Me, I emphasize on children. You talk of somebody who is very is grown up, will be very hard for you to enforce these
Mhm.
values. They are only applicable to children. So if we talk of values, we have to be concerned of our children, not the us. If the value is broken, you cannot repair it. It's really very hard. You keep going on with, move on with your life. So don't stop because this there is a value that has broken. So keep moving on. But these seven values that I read are very critical with small children at home, because you cannot find them in school. They are not taught at school, by the way. No school will teach you this. Only maybe churches. Some churches maybe don't have, because they are not, they are secular. You know, some culture will have them. They can. So those are the values. Try to match it with the behavior the child behave, like they wanted to become maybe dancers. They just, their behavior is they like dance, and you want them, the parent now want them to be doctor,
Mhm.
while that child will really be having a hard time for at home. So that's why parent has to be tasked to really.
Nyokwa Paul says that we are not born with empathy. Is this something that we can practice? Depends on the environment we lived in. That's the question.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Well, it's true. We are not born. Empathy is not born, but is learned. Is a value that can be learned. Okay. So let's say you have a child. Maybe you want to do a child. Maybe you are moving on.
But earlier, brother Largin, you say earlier that you cannot respect a child, and now you say that is a value you can learn. So how? Now tell us,
You know,
because
again. Uh, First of all, the empathy is just a value that can be learned. It's not. Don't never dream about you are born with or whatnot. I don't.
yeah, I'm
You
not saying you're
can
born
learn
with
it.
it, even though
Yeah,
I also yeah,
but
but
I'm
when
just
do you
saying
learn with
it's
it? I mean, when do
easy.
you learn it? At a young
Yeah,
age or when you are older?
yeah, it's easy when you are at age of maybe 3, 4, and then you start learning about this value we are talking about. So
Hmm.
sometime when you become older, they're going to be very hard, because already, if you did not learn these values, there are some values already you learn, and there are some uh, you separate a lot of values that are either bad value or good values. You can. But these 7 they are the most powerful good values that have been proven working in society. So again, about the respect, it depends on the cultural background that you are brought up. Most of us, we the Nuer people, we only respect big people. Somebody because of the age is when we respect, and that's how we are brought up like that. Now the Nuer of Western world have a different mentality of seeing what respect mean. So that's what I'm saying. So if you have maybe you like the way you say maybe you disrespect a child in Southern Sudan or in Nuer society, then the society value will say, okay, this is okay, it's fine. But if the child disrespect you, it is not okay because of they are young. So that is what, because they are undergoing training, or they what we don't understand. That's why we disagree with our own values. So you see, that's what I was talking about, respect as something that has a conflict in our own values. So for me, I advise our family and our people to try to be independent on these values. Try to identify your own values and don't take it from your parent or from your society or from your culture. Try to learn the meaning of all values and pick the one you want. And usually try to match your value and the behavior. How do you behave? Do you behave like a doctor? Do you behave like a president? Do you behave like somebody who can cook a nice food for people? And do you behave like a businessman? When you those behavior, or you have maybe a football or thing like that, then when you from your activity, then you can identify now some of this value. Maybe education value will help you. Maybe something like being creative or going to scientific engineering can help you. So, and then you match it, and then you pursue that.
All
You
right.
go for it.
Brother Largent, our time is up. It's actually getting to midnight in our time here. You are my western neighbor.
Yeah, it's only 11. I don't go bed because sometimes I do research. I go sleep sometime at 4 o'clock in the morning, because I only sometimes sleep only for 2 hours, 4 hours is fine. You know, one thing that the people don't know is that, and I wanted to comment this one because you brought it up. You know, is not very healthy for somebody actually to sleep so many hours. You lost memory, and this is what I wanted to comment on this. If you are a grown up, please do not oversleep like a child.
Well, how many
You
hours are
will
right?
actually you will lose the reason I say this is that people who sleep more and they are older,
No,
they
tell me the
lost
number of,
memory.
of hours a person should sleep and then not lose memory.
Yeah, if for a grown up, I'm talking about grown up. Children is okay. When children sleep more, is okay for them because
I understand. Give me the number, the figure.
yeah, I think 4 hours, 3 hours is fine for a big person to really to keep you update to be thinking. But otherwise, if you sleep like 6 or 7, 8 like a child, you're going to lose a lot of memory. And people don't know about this, by the way. Try it, give it a try, and
But how
you
can you back this up? How do you get to that conclusion?
well, I even from myself, when I don't sleep, when I am active, I really I memorize a lot.
What
I
is the
think a
sleep?
lot.
I mean, when you sleep, what happened?
So when you sleep, you tend to lose a lot of memory.
No, no,
Like
no,
if
no, no,
you
no.
if
My
you sleep,
question here is that when you sleep, let me answer myself.
yeah, you will not recall a lot of things. You cannot
I'm
your
not talking
brain.
about thinking. I'm talking about your body rejuvenating after all the things you have done in daytime. You work on all. I'm not a doctor, by the way, but I'm just giving you as a lay person. Okay. If you sleep, the reason I was asking you, give me the figure. What was told by research, and you said
I
that you,
already told you the figure, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
well, yeah, that's completely out of the.
it's out of
Uh,
topic. Anyway, man, you
not
can
not the topic
continue, but
is
I'm something I'm
it
doing here.
it 4 hours for a person to sleep. That's in trouble completely. You can only sleep for 4 hours because of the reason you have a plan. Yes, that's right. You are doing research in your house or in school. That's fine if you can manage. But for someone to just decide that I won't sleep only 4 hours because I will think better, I don't know about that. I would ask people who do that research. But for me, if I get my 8 hours or more, that wouldn't be okay. But I say, well, remember my name. All right. Anyway, uh,
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, brother Lanzalajin. Nice
Yeah,
talking to you all
thank
the
you,
time.
man. Have a good night, man.
For our viewers, I want to say thanks to Daniel, Valentino, Walt. Hey, Daniela, welcome back to the world of internet. Even though you start with spewing things that don't relate to what we do here. Come on, Daniela. We are not who you think we are. That's what Daniela said. Good morning from Juba, South Sudan. What are you guys doing in diaspora? Talking live on video instead of looking after your children and thinking about next rebellions. I don't know what you meant, Daniela, but we are, of course, taking care of our children here. That's true. Again, no rebel leaders giving advice. Very rich indeed. Please kindly find some enrichment activities to do with all due respect. Come on, Daniela. You can do better than that. We are here to discuss issues that matters to all of us, that matters to you, myself, and the other person that's with us. So you are too much in politics. Yes, that's true. I invite you to come on Friday on Inside SPLM IO. We will teach you a thing or two so that you will understand who we are. We are the people of South Sudan, and we are bringing peace to South Sudan as SPLM IO. I will tell you, do not associate yourself with any SPLM without an O on it. Because even if we check your blood now, Daniela, we can find O in your own blood. So you're not telling the truth. You actually are agreeing with the truth that we have. But it's your right to be part of IG, because now it's not the political talk that we're supposed to have. We save that for Friday. Chamkot Ganyatungong, one of my co-anchor here. Greeting to you, Ambassador Myongkwant, Dr. Thach, and Doa Largent. Yes, Comrade Brother Kong, Pal Chol Ranla. Thank you for coming. Hello, people. Yes, that's right. Thank you so much. And our sister Nyokot Paul, I actually flashed on your question earlier. We are not born with empathy. Is this something that we can practice? Depends on the environment we live in. Yes, that is very true. That's something that we can depend on the people that are around you. That's why it's very important that you have children. You must not only respect them, but behave nicely around your own children, because they are the mirror of you. And Simon James Lul, I am watching, but let us know where you're watching from, because we need to know where our people are watching us from. But coming to an end, this is the last leg of our topic tonight. The next topic will be the SPLM, inside SPLM IO tonight. There are so great things to discuss on that. Simon Tood and I will be talking about how the SPLM IO is ready to change South Sudan for better. And of course, we do have people that are running back and forth. If you can look at the sky, you will see blue. And that is the SPLMIO, not the sky, but the color itself. So, done with all this tiny stuff. Oh, Dr. John Quack, say great show, guys. Thank you, Dr. Quack. What else that I need to add to that? Yeah, you need to tune in next Wednesday, same time on Wednesday at 9 p.m. We will discuss more topic of this kind. But this Friday, I want you to tune in and listen to our segment about the SPLM IO. Wherever you are in this world, in Africa, in Australia, or here in the United States and Canada, I want to say thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. My name is Myong Kwant. You are watching us live in the United States.
Free at last. We are free at last. We are free at last. Sing it loud. We are free
Jacka Jack, what in y'all don't make a more day gangja. Come near by your day. Will I do Badundan Kell?
For the march, Lloyd the Jamaican, Lloyd the Caname, come round, Japan, the Algoran, Ganga, welcome you go be you, Lloyd you.
Yalchingarum, Purachugoinan, Reed Kudial Chica Choida, Tayan and Burkham, Chicken Yal, Jin Karadu, Jin Karadu, Nyal Jin Kara. Hey, Bang, open King Major Kanakwi. Baratul Kadwini Denka yet can look by the Kajiba Ben Kajika Chokan. Burangasa, Point Mugua, hit to go, chunk to go, Nachi, Lloyd do and by your tea, Nyal by your tea, baby. Lloyd Mugua and Shannon, Jacka Jack, what in y'all don't make a more day gangja. Come near by your tea. Will I do Badundan Kell?
For the march, Lloyd the Jamaican, Lloyd the Caname, come round, Japan, the Algoran, Ganga, welcome you go be you, Lloyd you. Namnia, Konjalnake. Right now to go to Ladity, Ringa Lloyd, the beauty quite quiet. Can ye go long yo can you make namnia con young again you when me buy what do paragoy do now I you me looking I would the entame but like chamin go like the go pay jagisha la palwa
Lloyd Mugua and Shannon Jacka Jack what in y'all don't come on, they gangja. Come near by your tea. Will I do Badundan Kell?
For the march, Lloyd the Jamaican, Lloyd the Caname, come round, Japan, the Algoran, Ganga, welcome you go be you, Lloyd you.
She not Guadajuk,
she no Guadajuk.
Mingoraman, she come fella, Panjal Kelduda, Chabashi in a dunga, Shangan Kondi la Shara, Nyan be la Tiamo, or Yama, she like the Jamaica G, like the Caname Camran, Japan, the Algoran, Ram Nage, welcome you go be you like do by your key. Or the march, like the Jamaica G.